So we've decided to call this Agency Affairs, the Sofa Chat Show, because Isaac's so good at copywriting. We needed to come up with a title for this, but...
Where's our fancy intro?
Yeah.
Fancy.
Salmon Film.
I can't come up with something on the spot like that, don't make me do it.
You won't be able to hear him.
I want like a Coronation Street type thing.
Look, the point of this is we're going to comment on this week's stories in the news, in the property industry news.
Can we comment on Coronation Street, which I read last night? I don't even watch it anymore.
I haven't watched it for 20 years.
Apparently Norris dies this week.
Sorry.
Norris.
Don't tell him that. It's sad now. Okay, so what has happened that we need to comment on? There's been some good stories this week. There's a lot of conflict in the market, in the industry reporting about what the market's actually doing, and I think that's because the whole country is full of pockets of ups, downs, no vals, loads of vals, high demand, low supply, high supply and low demand, and we're just one of those.
A mum wanted to work shorter hours, wasn't allowed to, resigned, and got a huge, I say huge to a lot of people. I think she was on 6 figures anyway, but got a big payout.
It's all relative, isn't it? Because she may have been awarded the difference she would have had in the pay. You know, we don't know that, do we? We went in the court, so it might be that the court decided that she would have earned £185,000 over time, and her career was cut short or something.
Yeah, we'll talk about one agent that has decided to, must have invested heavily to sponsor a Premier League football team.
Crikey.
Yeah.
And we're going to do all this in about 15 minutes because we have a podcast at 5.
And then, so we'll start and then talk about the property market.
Yeah.
And how the prices expect to grow in October, but not really. You'll get what I mean.
It's a bit wishy-washy.
Yeah, we'll start with the mum that wanted to work shorter hours.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised actually at the backlash on that because I'm not going to talk as a woman, I'm going to talk about as somebody in the...
I'll talk as a woman.
You feel free. The backlash was actually stronger than I thought it would have been.
I hadn't seen the backlash.
The backlash, the commentary was, what did she think she was getting herself into? You know, she has to make a choice. You can't have it all. It was all that kind of thing. And I don't know, you can't tell, can you, on the property industry eye, whether it's male or female that's answering. So that could have had a bearing on it. And there was obviously a lot of employers, I think, that were feeling that. And it is a big sting, £185,000. I mean, there aren't very many employers that could afford that and not feel a significant dent in their business, or might even send them under. So I don't know whether that's commensurate with what they were earning or what they'd earned from her or whatever. But so speaking as a woman then, I will comment on this. A few years ago, back in 2003 actually. Yeah, it was quite, yeah, you were like 3. I was working for a company called Kumon Educational, who were very strict about working hours. It was definitely 9 to 5, and I asked for flexi hours. It was just when flexi hours were coming in. You had the right to ask your employer to consider flexi hours, but the employer didn't have an obligation to give you them.
But it's still like that, but they have to give a compelling business reason as to why it was rejected.
Yeah, and they didn't.
Which is the same in this case.
Yeah, they just said no. And eventually I left. And I didn't think about going back to them and, suing them. So I can kind of see both sides of this, but ultimately it was my decision. I decided actually I didn't want to work 9 to 5. I wanted to work evenings and weekends and maybe not work 9 to 5 because I had kids at school and everything, and I was paying. There was 1 month where I paid more in childcare than I earned. I think my salary was something like, it was 22k back in 2003, and there was 1 month where I paid more in salary than I earned. Sorry, I paid more in childcare, and I thought, what am I doing this for? So I actually gave my notice and left and started my business, and I was really glad I did. But that was my choice, and I didn't feel like I was penalised for being a woman. I felt I was being given a choice. You work like this, or you leave and do your own thing, and that's what I chose to do.
I think it's a really difficult balance between the price of childcare is astronomical, isn't it? For the first 2 years, before they start getting, is it 2 or 3 they start getting free help?
But I didn't get anything off them.
No, it's mad, and actually it's quite often better for a partner to stay at home. We're in a very fortunate position where Molly doesn't have to work and therefore is at home. We don't have to pay the childcare costs. Yet we almost frown at people not being in work. So they've got that to play with. I wonder what the comments would have been had a man gone to the owner of this agency and said that my wife is working, therefore I want to leave early and pick up the kids, and I wonder if that would be a different conversation along the whole way. And I don't know whether that conversation would have been more positive in his favour or against him, but I think there may have been a slightly different outcome. I think that he possibly would have been supported, but potentially not. It is a really fine balance, isn't it, throughout the whole journey of it, of what the right thing, wrong things do. And the employer has a huge responsibility, not just to this mum, but to 10, 20, 30, 40 other members of staff that they employ. Changing one rule for one person could be catastrophic for the company.
But by the same token,
And culture.
people like Hannah, for example, who is our client executive, really, really valuable member of our team. We support her in every way we can. Her daughter got COVID recently. She had to stay at home with her daughter. She tried to work through it. She works evenings and sometimes weekends to take time back so she can manage her childcare more effectively. Anything she needs to do, we support her because she always goes above and beyond. And I wonder if, and I don't know, but if somebody came to you as a mum and wanted flexible working, and that mum didn't go above and beyond, she was a bit of a 9-to-5er anyway, you might think, actually, no, I don't want to give you any more flexibility.
I don't know when this happened, but if the pandemic just hit, they're on £100,000 a year, they're not actually very good at the job.
We're not commenting about this lady.
No, I have no idea.
Theoretically.
They've been there for 20 odd years. Therefore, if you're going to make them redundant, it was a hefty figure. They came with this request. You shut it down, kind of knowing that it would end up them leaving. Yeah, is that right? Or I guess from a business owner's point of view, sometimes you've got to do things that are right for your company.
Yeah.
But then I can see why that's got to be protected.
Well, there's workers' rights, of course there are, but also we have to say, well, maybe that employer knew what they were doing, maybe they knew exactly what they were doing, and maybe they were penalised because they didn't follow the correct legal procedure or something.
So the facts we have, what would you have done?
We don't have enough facts. If Hannah came to us now and asked for flexible working, we would say yes. As simple as that. In fact, we already do give her flexible working. If somebody wants time off for a dentist appointment, or something for themselves, we say, yeah, you're an adult, you manage your own diary. If you can get everything done, that's absolutely fine.
I think what goes against the agent in the employer here, and again, we don't know all the facts whatsoever, but she says in the article that she offered to do 8 till 4. And I know 8 till 9 is kind of a pointless time in the agency, but she could call up on admin, etc. I think that's where.
We're only hearing one side of the story, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The article is only her side.
Yeah, maybe we should get the other side on the podcast.
Maybe we should.
No, we won't get involved. It's a terrible idea.
We'll move on to the next topic because we are running out of time.
But we'd like to know your opinions on it. But try and keep it.
No, don't. Be controversial. We don't mind. But you're not on Property Industry Eye now. We know exactly who you are.
Who's the sly one? Not sly, but people talk about. Is it a bee? Some purple bee, is it?
CB or something.
Just so the topics aren't as good. Actually, no, we'll talk about the sponsorship of a Premier League football club. So there's I don't know how big this agency is, you might know it's PYMM, I think.
Never heard of it.
Down near Norwich. That have now partnered up with Norwich City or a Premier League football club. They don't get any on the shirts or anything, but they get, I think they get on the big screen and they get on the boards, advertising boards by the pitch, probably at least a 5-figure sum, at least.
What, 10,000?
Well, multi 5-figure.
50,000? 100,000?
Yeah, I'd say in the 50,000, maybe more, maybe £100,000 realm. What are your thoughts?
Don't do it.
But just to counter that slightly, I'm hoping that he's a huge Norwich City fan.
If he's going to get residual benefits that are about him as a person, and that's why he's doing it, then absolutely fine. It's not a business benefit. You can't argue it's a business benefit.
No, but if he thinks, look, I've worked so hard for 20 years, I'm a big Norwich City fan, I'd love to go there. You probably get free tickets. I'd love to go there, take my friends, have my agency name on the big screen. Cost me a hell of a lot of money, but if he might be able to afford it. I say he. I don't actually know if it's a.
It probably is a he.
He or she. Oh yeah, it's watching football. The band so yeah, I can see. But from a commercial point of view, terrible idea.
No, we don't think that would work. Okay, let's just talk about the market.
I think it's a bit boring, isn't it?
No, because I think it's quite varied. We were talking to Steve Kimberley today, or rather Heather was, and he said he was playing golf with. Stop clicking that.
Yeah, why is he playing golf with competitors? That's
With a competitor.
get off.
He's playing golf with a competitor.
Don't do that, Steve.
Maybe a friend. Well, he's a golfing competitor, and the
Ah.
golfing competitor had 2 vowels in the diary for the week, and Steve Kimberley had 14, which is
he's
great
fine.
because he's a 5-year member. Which is great, but that makes me think that there might be a dropping off of the market. Or it could be just that he's much better at marketing than his competitor. And he's down in Falmouth, is that right?
Yeah.
Falmouth? Yeah. And here in the Lake District, we have definitely seen a softening in the market, definitely. So the stuff we have on the market is definitely one of two halves. It's either flying out the door and getting, great prices, or it's just not getting anything at all. Barely ticking over, isn't it?
Yeah, and vowels have slowed up as well.
And people are more fee conscious on vowels.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fee comments over the last 3 or 4 weeks. So a lot of our Firework members and other agents we speak to over the last 6 months have been saying this, that we're getting a lot of fee talk because the market's so good, why would you pay more of a fee, etc. And we weren't getting it at all. But only in the last 3 or 4 weeks have I seen it, which is funny because when the market's gone quiet. I actually don't mind the market going quiet for a little bit because it gives us more chance to try and generate leads from homes on the market, which we've not done for so long. When was the last time I went to a val for a home on the market?
No, can't remember.
Over a year.
So the market is changing, and we've all seen these cycles, but it has been a bit of a false cycle in the last 24 months, I think. It was really interesting to see how it plays out. One thing that I would say is it's so important for agents to stay ahead of the marketing during a time like this. When you feel uncertainty, it's quite easy to stop marketing. You've got to continue with it. But what do we think it's going to do over the next few months?
I agree with that slightly. I'd say that you should have carried on marketing 2 months ago. And we fell into the trap, or actually, did we fall into the trap? We sent out not on market letters, but kind of nothing else. But you should, when you're seriously busy in the summer, and if you're seriously busy now, it's still the time to carry on marketing because the market will drop off, and those that have carried on throughout will stay ahead of everyone else, and those that stop because they were too busy or stop because they were doing great will start to struggle, and that's what causes the big roller coaster effect.
So even when you think that you shouldn't be marketing, you should be marketing.
If you think you're too busy to be marketing, that is the most critical time
Because it's about to fall
to
off
be
the cliff.
marketing. Yeah.
Well, actually, it's always.
Usually you're busy because of the marketing you've done. You are obviously elevated back from the market conditions, but if you're at the top of the market with generating valuations, it must mean you've done some good level of marketing at some point.
And actually, we have been market creators over the last 6-9 months. So I think we've created a market that wasn't there. So instead of going after the on-the-market properties, we've gone after not on-the-market properties, and therefore people who weren't going to sell have decided to sell because of our communication with them. And so I think that we have actually been instrumental in making the market move around here.
Arguably across the UK. You're welcome. How many? We had a stat really of how many valuations we created across the UK. It was huge.
That was huge, millions and millions, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, not valuations of fees,
Of
but
fees.
even the it was like 9,000 vowels.
That's
Okay.
ridiculous. Yeah. Well, it's probably 100 vowels per member, and we have.
Get off!
Well, because Isaac's throwing me daggers because you're clicking near the microphone.
I'm allowed to click.
You're not allowed to click. Stop it.
You need to face it as well.
I need to face it.
What are you going to do?
So do you, Phil. I was actually talking to you then.
Oh, there you go. Right, we'll talk into the microphones properly. Sorry. Yeah, it was 100 vowels per member, and we have 92 members.
Yeah, I think it was quite 100 vowels. Well, can't remember what it was. Anyway,
So we're going to try and do one of these little shows every week, depending on where we are and what we're doing, because I'm on my hollybobs. next week.
Next week's debate is whether the word hollybobs should be banned across the whole universe, never mind 50 plus.
Do you know what Heather said to me this morning? She said they're going to bring out a booster for older people.
You're included.
And then she said, for over 50s, I went, hang on a minute, you just said over 50s. Older people and over 50s in the same sentence.
I'd have dropped the to be honest.
What do you think about compulsory vaccinations for staff?
Let's just cut that there, I think.
No, I think we should carry on.
Good question.
So, because Lucy, my friend Lucy, who runs a restaurant, is in two minds at the moment, but she's probably coming down on the side of compulsory vaccinations for her staff.
I wouldn't do it, but I kind of...
But you want to?
Yeah.
You wouldn't do it because it would be a whole can of worms, but you want to
Yeah.
because you like the result. We've only got one anti-vaxxer here.
Yeah.
And she just tried to persuade Tess not to go.
Did she?
Yeah.
The stats that came out yesterday were pretty mad.
Amy says no chance.
Does she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a can of worms that
It's not
that
one.
it's not
Yeah.
working involved.
Actually, everybody's vaxxed apart from one.
But I can see why people.
Especially in a busy town centre office, when you've got maybe lots of throughput, lots of like viewings and God.
Yeah, the best thing is when you say to member staff, well, you can't go on holiday until you're vaccinated, especially if you're paying for that holiday, and all of a sudden, next day they've got a jab.
Yeah, well, we did have somebody go on holiday recently and didn't isolate when they got back, even though they were supposed to.
Yeah. Lucy says, I can't even introduce a dress code, let alone compulsory vaccinations.
I've noticed some ankles on show downstairs and some people wearing socks and nothing else on their feet. So yeah, my dress code isn't working. Should see what Isaac's wearing.
Doesn't work in Firewave at all.
Definitely isn't working fire. I've got absolutely zero chance at all. So anyway, we're going to try and do one of these little shows every week. If you've got a story that you'd like us to have a look at or comment on or whatever, then obviously you're only going to get one side, where you get two sides with Phil and I. And you might have your own opinions that might be completely different to ours, and that's fine too. But it's good to open the debate, I think, and start talking about these.
We may bring people on to talk about certain topics. If we use StreamYard, we can actually...
I was going to talk to you about that after I've got some
We
ideas.
can actually get people on to talk.
We
And,
probably should jump on our podcast.
And get... What time is it?
It's 4:42. We've got to do the crib sheet yet. So we've got John. Oh, what am I going to say? Oh no, John somebody.
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise.
It's not-
I don't let me
It's
tell
not
you.
John Paul.
Well,
It's not John Paul.
you gave away yesterday's guest while
Did
I was
I?
doing a live video. Can you guess who it is? Oh, hello, Toby! Everybody go and look
No,
at his
he's heard of Tony
website.
Salgado anyway. No, I've just told you all.
Yeah, not surprised now.
Okay, well, what I'll tell you, it's John somebody tonight, and he's a very exciting guy.
Has
He's
John
American.
R gone out yet?
Yeah.
Oh.
We've got no guest ones in the pipeline.
John Rossman. That was
Yeah,
good.
he was good. He's one of my most popular episodes.
Is it?
John, yeah, we need to go. Right, thanks very much for watching,
As
everybody.
no one that turns it off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, but I've got to stop this recording and both recordings.
Well, stop this recording first and go back and stop that. Anyway, in the meantime, we'll say goodbye. Goodbye.